Okay, hello and welcome everyone to our gathering. I am Bante Warapanyo. I have been living as a Buddhist monk now for 5 years. This is our online meditation center. That's where you are now. This is a 24/7, 365 meditation center. That means that there are many opportunities to show up, to practice, to ask questions, or give advice. Many opportunities to connect with reality. This is really what the Dhamma or the Buddhist teachings are concerned with. Many of us, we may have some notion or some idea, we may have heard the word spirituality or meditation or enlightenment or Buddhism. But there are very few people in the world that have a real experience of any of these things. You can look to the United States, for example, and see how many meditation centers are there. How many well-known Buddhist groups or practitioners are there? Many of us here, at least myself, I have a Western root. I'm from America. And spirituality, meditation, Buddhism, enlightenment is a new transplant to America, to my culture, to my ancestry. It's commonly said that as Christians or as American people, we tend to be Christian or have Christian roots. But even having gone to a Christian school growing up as a kid, I wouldn't quite say that I feel I have Christian roots. It's more that I've had some Christian experiences. But mainly, I was raised to be a consumer. I was vaguely raised to be a capitalist. And more so than anything, there was probably a lot of neglect. There is a lot of a lack of being raised, a lack of attention. And that led me to having a vague perspective, a vague approach to life, a vague experience of being human. And naturally, the kind of experience that I have, I imagine, corresponds to the world. So we may be among many people when we say, I have a shallow or limited understanding of what meditation is, what spirituality is, what Buddhism is, what enlightenment is. I have a shallow understanding of what reality is. To say this is really to be humble about our experience, not to lock it down into a certain persona, a certain way of being, a certain identity for ourselves or for other people. And when we lessen the importance that we give to our experiences, there's more opportunity to do that which is unusual according to our experience. Rather than be selfish, we can be generous. Rather than blaming or shaming or judging, we can forgive. Rather than believing in and participating in the notion of a self or a permanent fixed ego, a soul, we can detach from any ideas we may hold about ourself. What is the self? What is this, for that matter? We can pull up many answers. We can pull out many name brands. Oh, this is an iPhone. Didn't you know? Oh, this is an Audi. This is a Samsung. Don't you know about that? But we may find that these usual answers, or I have depression, I have anxiety, I'm schizophrenic, I'm a confused person, leave a lot to be understood, a lot to be looked at deeply. But how often do we stop? How often do you stop your thinking? How often do you stop your mental actions, your physical actions, your verbal actions? How often do you stop and listen deeply? Listening deeply is kind of even a deeper invitation, not just to hear, but to open to everything. And to open to everything, and just to be open, we have to drop our assumptions, our biases, our immediate reactions. What's so wrong with stopping? What's so important about continuing some word-based narrative about our current experience? Why is that so necessary? Why do we need to drag that ball and chain with us all the time? Why can't the heart beating sing us a beautiful song? Why can't the breath be a wonderful refuge for safety and peace? Being aware of some suffering, some difficulty, some mistake, rather than grasping onto it and dragging it around or drowning in it, why can't we just forgive it? Because we aren't prioritizing to do those things. Most of our energy to prioritize anything is lost in this kind of constant, excessive, non-practical activity. This compulsive action and reaction. When we consider the important things in life, is it your relationships? Is it your past? Is it your future? Is that really what's most important? And the past that you're talking about, are you talking about just a story that you're making up right now? The future that's so important, the bills you need to pay, these worries that you need to have, right? These things you need to solve, these people you need to encounter. Are you just making that up right now? Or is that a lived experience? What is your lived experience? For me, if I am willing enough to stop and kind of step back from the compulsive thinking or the compulsive reactivity to what's happening now, I can say that my lived experience is seeing. The things or aspects of what I see can be objectified and storyified. I can add on a layer of like or dislike or preference. I can close my eyes or open them. Or rather, there is an awareness that that's happening. So the seeing itself, not doing anything, not seeing anything in particular, but the seeing itself taking place. I can notice that my heart is beating right now. Not particularly fast, but it is beating. I can feel that happening. I say my heart or my body or I am seeing, but this is just a way of speaking. What is I? What is this mine that quote unquote I am talking about? What's going on here? Is the heart beating, which is this what we understand is this kind of organ in the torso, right? And I imagine anyone who's listening to my voice, their heart's beating. So what is this? Is this important? Is this essential? Is this a major part of your life? What if you were driving a car and you decided that you're not going to pay attention to the road signs anymore? You're not going to pay attention to stoplights or directions or speed limits. What kind of experience are you going to have driving around like that? So, in terms of this life, whatever it is for you, what road signs are there? That is what's important, what's essential. Is it yesterday? Is it tomorrow? Is it that person? Is it this person? Is it your bank account? Is it your job? Is it your plans? When you drive a car right now. If you're too far into the past, that's an accident. Your focus. If you're too far into the future, that's an accident. So real meditation is not an exercise. It is a willingness to recognize and to be with what is essential. But to step into that practice, you have to care. You have to be concerned or interested in what is essential, even before you can ask the question. You have to be curious. about the truth. You have to be curious about this. Most people are not concerned with reality. Motor vehicle accidents are one of the leading causes of death in the United States. We have rampant mental health issues. America is actually this country that has a statistical anomaly in terms of Western developing or prosperous countries economically. Whereas we're developing, and yet the certain rates of mental health issues are increasing, especially for young people. And statistics are very useful. We can actually learn a lot about what's going on with statistics. And for this situation, the researchers, they don't know what's going on. And we don't know what's going on inside ourselves for the most part. Neo didn't know what was going on when he chose the red pill or the blue pill, whichever one is more correct in the situation. That's the one he chose. Neo didn't know. We don't know what's going on. But in that not knowing is a opening, not a closing. And in that opening, we can use our natural faculty, our natural awareness, not just to see things on the surface level, not just to see ourselves on the surface level, not just to see our mental, physical, or verbal actions on the surface level, but to look deeply. And to look deeply, we can't be lost in appearances. We can't be lost in these experiences that come up. Mental experiences, physical experiences, verbal experiences. We have to know how to give it away. We have to know how to detach. We have to know how to abandon mental experiences. We have to learn how to put down our grasping onto physical experiences. Now, we all know how to do this. It's called waking up in the morning and scooting your boot. All right? This is why people drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee or Starbucks, what have you, because it's difficult to scoot your boot. But we can do it, most of us, a lot of the time. We got to go to work, got to support ourselves, right? I'm a monk, so I have to wake up to meditate. But if we can bring that practice of being aware of a kind of heaviness of a physical experience, the body feels tired, and a mental experience as well, right? The mind is saying, come on, let's relax, let's go back to sleep. What are you doing? If we can recognize that there's an awareness of this sleepiness, there's an awareness of this thought formations related to that physical experience, and yet we have the real capacity, the direct capacity to detach, to release ourselves, to go forward, even in the midst of that thinking or feeling or being pulled in a certain direction. So this is not a doctrine that I'm trying to make other people adopt. This is my practice. And in the same way, when we practice meditation, we shouldn't be trying to convince ourselves of anything. We shouldn't be trying to experience anything in particular. It's more that we are stepping into the willingness to experience, to be with that which is essential and also wonderful, also joyous and freeing. The breathing, the body, the freedom of stopping, the joy of knowing that we are doing what we should do. We are doing good deeds. This is what we should do. We should do good deeds. Find a way. What are doing good deeds? What is good deeds? Let's find out. Let's talk about it. Let's look at this. Let's practice it. Let's try to do good deeds. True rest has nothing to do with sleeping. Sleeping is just what animals do. It's a biological function, something normal to happen. But rest is not about sleeping. Rest is about allowing stopping to take place. Allowing nowhere to go and nothing to do to become clear, to become alive. Learning to rest, learning how to stop, learning how to forgive. Mindfulness is not a forgetfulness. Mindfulness is forgiveness. Those feelings or experiences come up, and yet we can be mindful. We can be present. We can be aware. And Ajahn Brahm, who is a wonderful Buddhist teacher, this is a special moment because this is the present moment. And we have the good conditions to be here. We have the good conditions and the invitation to do good deeds, to continue on the path. Whether we are a beginner, whether we are experienced, whether we are a chakra master, or whether we are just someone who's interested in peace. So Ajahn Brahm likes to say kindfulness. And that kind of gets to the forgiveness point here. When we are mindful, we are showing up, we are aware, we are touching what's real right now. And sometimes what's real right now is difficult, painful, confusing, depressing, etc. So when we offer our awareness to that right now, to sustain that, to stay with that, is a kindness, a forgiveness. of resolving. But it's difficult to resolve these situations and experiences that come up. I find in my own practice, one of the most difficult things is mindful, compassionate communication with others, other monks who I am interacting with here at the temple, or people who I encounter. Sometimes we need to set boundaries. Sometimes we need to say, hey, that's myself. Don't touch it. Right? That's where I draw the line. That's my tea. So learning how to communicate mindfully, compassionately, to offer that kindfulness, it's a real art, and it takes time. There's no rush in this practice. People show up to a meeting like this, or or start getting to look into spirituality or something, and they want some formula or some serum, some kind of special liquid to drink. And, this isn't a special liquid. This is the path. This is the practice. This is the way. This is the heart, the beating heart. Where is the heart beating to? Where is it beating from? Should we rush our heart? Where are we trying to go? So we're tuning into a very natural state. That is the opposite of contrivance, the opposite of complicatedness or confusedness. The brighter our mindfulness is, or the more we want to try to be aware of what's happening right now, the more kind we will need to become, the more gentle, the more attentive, the more caring, the more open. It's not that we make mistakes and that we need to deal with those consequences. We need to be mindful of the results of our past actions. Because this is not all about you. This is not about you. This is not about me. But of course, I'm also listening to me, so, I'm kind of saying it to myself. In the ultimate, we can say there are neither human beings or Buddhas. There's only the original truth of not someone, not some place, not some time, a certain kind of universal non-dual consciousness pervading everywhere, everything. But to get to that point of recognition, which is realistic and even natural, as we read in our Buddha book club last time, it takes a lot of joyful practice to get to that point. It takes a lot of joyful practice. We are the human species. That is our ancestry. We are communal. We are tribal. Okay? Biologically, evolutionarily, a human being that is isolated or alone is a human being that is about to die or is in such a state of mental or physical disease or kind of issues that they've been put out from the group or have chosen to leave. So if we want our practice to be contemplative and robust and this kind of joyful practice, we need community. And not just any community, we need spiritual community. What is spiritual community? It's a community of well-minded practitioners, people on the path. The path of what? Being generous, being virtuous, being meditative, developing wisdom, using mindful, loving, compassionate communication, using our resourcefulness, not just for improving the conditions for ourselves or making money, but using our resources, using our body and mind to make merit. Merit is good deeds and the effects of good deeds. So building community of doing good, making merit. This is more important than making money. We've been in a post-scarcity world for a long time. We're just not in a post-fool world. The world is full of fools. So even though we have all this excess, we don't use it. So money is not much of a problem. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things to make a lot of money, and you can do that too. You can try to do that. But there are not enough people working for merit, working for doing good deeds continuously, limitlessly. And then because our view is so small, so self-centered, we are missing the point, trying to meditate to become wise, or trying to study the Buddhist scriptures to understand the Buddha mind. This is because our practice is limited, and the nature of mind is limitless. How can we touch the limitlessness within ourselves? Try to practice as much as you can. Try to support as much as you can. Try to get as involved as you can. With enlightenment, with the Buddha mind, with the original nature, with peace, with freedom, with Buddha Dhamma Sangha. We've got to expand our approach, our horizon about what we're doing here in our spiritual practice. This is not a place to be a spiritual consumer. We are here to build a community. We're here to put in the work. And that is the work of freeing the mind from grasping, freeing the mind from the wrong view, freeing the mind from the wrong thinking, the self-view, or even the shallow self-view. In Buddhism, we have the appearance of a self. Buddhism is not nihilism. So the Buddhist worldview or the Buddhist perspective is that there certainly is an appearance of a self. There appears to be someone sitting here talking. But that actually, when we look deeply, when we look closely, we can't find that quote unquote self. We don't know what it is. We're just making stuff up. And then we indulge too heavily in this intellectualization of answers that aren't actually from our direct experience and from people we don't know, and there's no actionable way to step forward to develop that understanding. So there's a lot that we need to abandon and detach from and put down, especially if we are aware of the suffering that we're carrying with us. Suffering can inspire us. This sense of dissatisfaction, this sense of unpleasantness, this sense of difficulty, it can inspire us very deeply to start changing our life. Actually, changing your life isn't necessary. Changing your mind is necessary. But for most of us, to get the workable conditions to change our mind, we very likely need to change our life. And if we look at the environment, if we consider the truth or the reality of interbeing, of the non-separateness between this body and these bodies and this environment and those environments, then it becomes very clear that there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of support to be offered. There's a lot of self-centeredness that can be transferred into generosity, working for the others, fulfilling the needs of the others, not just ourselves. This is a trap. Oh, I feel a little bit tired. Let me go do this or do that. But we have to have the foundation. And the foundation here is our willingness to stop and look deeply. And we can't exclude the Buddha Dharma from this. We can't exclude the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha from this situation. And we also can't exclude how are we going to move forward with this. For me, I have a more convenient situation because I dared to become a monk. I dare to renounce and detach from many certain freedoms that a normal person can have that I cannot. So because of that, because I was willing to give up a lot, then I have the good support for a lot of practice. Living nearby the meditation master, living with other monks, having many opportunity to teach like this, having very strong environmental support for me to live by ethical conduct. But if you are the lay person, you are not a monk, then you need to look deeply. How are we going to move forward? What are we going to do? we've been having a lot of fun here at the temple recently. I don't know how I appear as a teacher, but I'm very fun, playful young monk. And here I have my kind of my siblings with me, my brothers with me. Some of them are also very fun and playful and ridiculous, like I can be. And I've been sharing with them this song that is done by an artist called Joe Riley, and he's kind of involved with the Buddhist community. And it's a song that has this focus of planting seeds for a new community. It's time to wake up. And it's kind of very, uh, his energy, very special, very strong kind of energy. And, but that is what we're doing here. And I think that, my aspiration for what I want to share with this community, all of our members here on the Discord and supporters and meditators and volunteers and, everybody who's involved, longtime participants, that there's nothing that has supported me more on this spiritual journey than community. I mean, that's the whole path. There's actually um, one of the early Buddhist teachings where one monk approaches the Buddha and they're talking about something like, he says, "Hey, Buddha, pretty nice, having spiritual friends. That's like half the path. That's like half the whole spiritual path." And the Buddha says, "Wait a minute. That's the whole path, right?" So, how do we build a community? Not just this kind of ethereal thing, right? Like uh, inside and outside, but how do we establish deep roots in interrelationship, interbeing, related to our practices of generosity, our practices of living virtuously, our practices of doing good deeds, helping the others, and helping the world as well. I mean, this stuff works. So that stopping and looking deeply and saying, "Hey, what what am I going to do and what are we going to do?" Very powerful for us to set our intentions to be more grounded, more realistic. We've got to get it out of the air and tie our boots with it, so to speak. Let's listen to a sound of the bell. So here in this context, we are looking at maybe questions about how this community will develop in the future. Um, maybe opening a meditation center, some things along these lines as we, continue to exhaust the work that can be done through the online space or the online mediums. There may be a real point where we say, creating a physical space or a center, or something along those lines. But the teaching here is really about making the spiritual practice not just something you identify with and label yourself with, but how you show up moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. And to make it such a practice that you don't need to reach into your pocket for some complicated narrative or idea about what you're doing, but just to be generous, just to do a good deed, just to be mindful, just to walk and breathe in mindfulness right there, and to penetrate with that mindfulness, to penetrate with that awareness. This is it. This is the here and now. To be in such a position where you say to the checkout person in the grocery line, this is the moment of mindfulness. This is reality. But you say it with your practice, with your smile, with your patience, with your gentleness. So far, we have had actually 2 members from our community that were in a maybe a mental situation that was quite deep, quite suffering, and just the context or the things weren't working out. There's a lot of suffering there. And then also someone who most recently was in a material situation that was kind of bottoming out. Yeah, so mental and physical, nama rupa, name and form, right? And both of them have kind of one is now a monastic, so one is a nun living in Myanmar and has drastically, taken refuge in the Sangha. And one recently went to stay at my teacher's temple in California. To do like that is really difficult. My teacher, he take care of many thousands of people that have nowhere else to go. They go to live there, they can eat, they can have a safe place to sleep, they can get Dhamma teachings and, some minimal medical care. The question is, we can't all do that for sure. We can't open our homes or just start a meditation center and start doing that for, every homeless person or suffering person in America. It's not going to work out. But the practice point, the practice question here, right, is how do I accept? How do I embrace? How do I practice with these feelings, this body, these sensations, these experiences? in my own life, in my own body and mind, and how do I offer to them? How do I aware to them? How do I mindful to them? That suffering that we cover up with consumption, that boredom that we add things to constantly, that compulsive movement, that compulsive activity that always wants to switch back in a moment of stopping or a moment of peace. That evil version of ourselves, right? The anti-Buddha, the anti-Supergirl, the anti-Wonder Woman inside of ourselves, right? How do we face that? How do we offer medical care to that? How do we offer Dhamma teachings to that? How do we do good deeds and practice mindfulness and detachment when that's around? When we can't quite shake off that suffering inside of us? How do we practice continuously, even in the face of those difficulties? We try. We forgive. And we penetrate now. Okay, let's practice meditation together. So, dear friends, please find your meditation posture, your meditation position. Meditation is the action of mindfulness. It's not meditating for a particular period of time. It is the action of present moment awareness. And by focusing on our breathing, we can be mindful of present moment breathing experience. But the nature of our awareness, the nature of our just being or just sitting here or just thinking or just falling asleep or just being uncomfortable, etc., is inclusive of everything. That action of mindfulness, of coming back to awareness, is open to everything, everything. It's got nothing to do with breathing, got nothing to do with your body or your mind. That is the generosity to offer out to, and just aware, aware, aware. Just breathing aware, that's okay. So we can all finding our comfortable position. Don't try to meditate. We'll listen to 3 sounds of the bell, 3 to begin, and then when we finish, 3 more. with 3 sounds of this bell, that we all awaken to our Buddha nature, walk the path, being mindful, doing less of what we should not do, doing more of what we should do. That is, emphasizing to do good deeds and to be mindful for all, willing and able to let go. The sound of the bell guides us on the path. Okay, at this time, feel free to move around. It can be nice to massage your face as well. And we have some time for questions and sharing experience. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering how often you do this because I really liked it. I thought it was inspiring and I'd like to do more of it.
Yeah, Wittgenstein, you can go to our website, which was set up by some of the volunteers in our community, monklife.one, monklife.one, and there's a lot of information there. So I recommend you start with that, and we have many recordings from our past sessions on the YouTube channel as well.
Mm. I was thinking more about the sort of a personal community thing that we talked about. That's where I'm at right now too. That's what I'm looking for.
Right,
What we're doing right now, I mean, right? Sort of creating a community or being part of a community.
right.
So I was
So,
thinking more about the live sessions.
of course, of course. Mainly, we need to prioritize generosity. Um, we cannot we cannot expect the others to do what we can do. But if we are not willing to do what we can do, then it will be difficult to help the others and also ourselves. It will be difficult to be helped. The foundation of this path, the Buddhist path, which is an interesting kind of tradition and um, situation, this Buddhist situation, the starting point is sila. So that's virtue, but actually we call it dana sila. So we need to intervene in this tidal wave, this constant oceanic tidal movement of selfishness, of self-fixation. And we start to intervene in that, not by figuring out how we can get what we want, but by practicing generosity. We have to get out of our own way, or rather, we have to use ourselves, use this body and mind to recognize what is in front of us on the path, to pick that up and then to move it away. So, what's in front of us in the path? What's kind of the barriers? It's our attachments. And even deeper than that, it's the grasping itself. So, we change or we shift that grasping by practicing generosity. It's difficult because, or it's curious because the path is right here. This is it. There's not what's tomorrow. Just we're just kind of saying tomorrow. We don't know. There's no way to set you up on a program. You've just got to start shifting your perspective. You've got to start focusing on doing good deeds, on practicing generosity. And the people that can be met to have their uh, to get what they need are the people who are ready to give up everything. If you are ready to give up everything, even people who have very little, even people who work at a job that's very uncomfortable and doesn't pay much money, and they live at a place that they don't like very much, around people that they don't like very much, and their minds are tangled up and they're really in a difficult situation. Even people like that are very, very shy to abandon what they have, to give it up, to let it go. So you can get back as much as you do. You will get back what you do. But the more that you open up to giving away, to doing, to helping, to serving, uh, that's how much you can be served. But I won't be closing the Discord anytime soon, so stick around. Go ahead, Sarustoto Lee. If you have a question, you can ask it via text. That's okay. The way that things appear is not the way that things are. It or our capacity to imagine does not correspond to reality. I imagine I will have an experience tomorrow. I imagine I will wake up tomorrow. That's got nothing to do with reality. Really, it doesn't. So, all these nothing to do with reality that we have piled up and fixated on and become entrenched by, we need to start practicing to give it away. Our possessions, our skills, our mindfulness, our smile. Okay, Saru Soto Lee says, years ago, I was drawn to the Diamond Sutra as I listened to a lecture by Venerable Guancheng at the International Buddhist Temple via YouTube. It was very hard to understand. As he mentioned, we must understand many other aspects prior. Do you have any advice for understanding this topic? We already understand too much. It's time to start understanding not understanding. And in understanding not understanding, we detach, we put down, we abandon. Who cares about the Diamond Sutra? If you care about it, then you should follow the teachings of the Buddha. Sila Samadhi Panya, Dana Sila Samadhi Panya. Follow precepts, do actions of generosity, practice meditation, be serious. If you want to get strong, you'll need to get serious. If you want to understand deeply, you'll need to move aside all of your surface level perceptions. And we're not really putting aside our surface level perceptions if we're just kind of moving them out of the way so we can, for whatever reason, we desire to have, this understanding about the Diamond Sutra, only for them to bounce right back. Because it's not really that we want to understand the Diamond Sutra, it's just our desire, it's our craving, it's our clinging. Better to practice, better to forgive yourself for this confusion. For people who are beginners and want to practice seriously, there are many texts that they have no business reading or focusing on. So you don't need to take it personally. It's just that that's not a text that you can practice with right now. So you need to put it down so that you can continue your practice rather than dwelling on, how do I understand this more clearly?
If I'm interrupting, by the way, but I just wanted to follow up on the community thing and say that if anyone here is interested in connecting with an data, my DMs are open, so just please contact me if you should feel like it. That was just, yeah.
Widgetstein, you can also try to look online you can use Google and search on Google for Plum Village, find a Sangha near me. I'll type this for you, Widgetstein. And if you send me a message, send me a DM and let me know where you're located in the world. I will try to help you find a group near you.
Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Near me. Plum Village Sangha near me. But you won't find too many groups like this. This is a one of a kind group. We are the most active and largest Buddhist server, Discord server, and we're certainly the most active meditation community on Discord. But I am the main facilitator, and I have a limited amount of time. I have responsibilities at the temple, and I also have my own practices that I'm doing. But I do my best to keep the group in mind, and we're working through a Buddha book club right now with the teachings of Zen Master Linji. And like I said, if you want to join the community, that's a matter of entering into the flow of practice. So if you go to the YouTube channel, you will find that there are hundreds of hours of our flow of practice that you are welcome to tune into and have that experience. Right? We set up the duality of like the past and the future and then the present. And there's some specialness about the present for sure. There's some uniqueness about it, but someone else's past is your present. So be there for it. And if this seriously seems like something you're interested in and there's a connection point here, we've got to be ready to do the work and show up and try.
Mm.
You know, it's
I
not,
should point out that, sorry.
yeah, point it out.
I just wanted to say that I've been practicing samatha for a couple of years now, so I'm on the path, so to speak.
Well, yeah, that's okay. But we've got to find community because real meditation is kind of like sports. That's where so let's look at the body, okay? Strength and speed and stamina, right? Uh, how much do you think marathon runners get paid? The best marathon runner in the world, how much do you think they get paid a year?
Are you
Not,
asking me?
not so much, okay? How about the best sprinter? How about the person who can lift the most weight? How much money do you think they're getting paid a year for lifting the most weight, for being the strongest in that exercise? Not so much. How much does the best football player in the world make a year? How much does the best NBA player in the world make a year? So, real meditation is like the NBA, like the NFL. And you're not really, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to have um, a real experience of it or a real success in it until you get on the field with other meditators, other players, right? And then there are levels to it, right? There's high school football, middle school football, college football, professional football, right? NFL. Then you've got semi pro, you've got all these different leagues, but then you got the NFL, right? So the more you get involved in community, the more you have like a real check in about where your practice is, what degree of success you have, right? And when you're
Mm.
really serious about it and you develop a bit of faith in the practice and in a practitioner or a teacher, then you can go up to that teacher and say, "Hey, you know, where am I at? What's my deal? What should I do next?" And you'll be ready to listen. Um, so it's great when we can have like a foundation of practice, a foundation of meditation, but we also need to understand the difference between being a very good sprinter or being very, very strong and being on the football field or being on the basketball court. When real life shows up, what degree do you have a recognition of the nature of your mind, or in the case of samatha success, what degree of access do you have to deeper states of peace in the midst of turmoil and out of control situations? And unless you've actually been in those out of control situations, outside of your privilege, outside of your comfort zone, outside of the normal way of being, you don't know. You have no idea.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm definitely still
community,
a novice.
yeah, so community really gives us this access point to see ourselves and to see our capacities, which people have all kinds of different capacities. Some people are very good at building. Some people are very good lawyers. Some people are very good at teaching. Some people are very good at music, playing instruments, right? Whatever we're good at or whatever we have, wherever we have our value or our skill, if we can turn it somehow towards the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, then it means we are turning it towards and flowing into the stream of awakening, wisdom, and community. So turn the boat. Heavy storms ahead. Okay, so let's finish together with 3 sadhus. And sadhu is a Pali word which means well done and kind of has the spirit of may it be. So this is good, may it be. And we can all chant sadhu together. We can bring our hands together, and I'll ring the bell as we chant, and we'll finish with that for today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We can all make a bow. Okay, dear community, keep your head in the game. And thank you all for joining me. And see you again soon, all right? Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And please, all you YouTubers, definitely leave a like on this video. And you can also leave a comment after the stream ends and let everybody know you were here.